Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
We bring you this special radio broadcast.
It's starting.
I'm sure a lot of people think this is just some radio shtick.
Let's talk to these people.
Let's talk about culture.
It's a primitive culture.
Let's talk about what's best in life.
What is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of your women.
Talk about crushing your enemies.
This time, it's for real.
Let's talk party politics. But don't expect the same old kind of talk radio show.
But a new wind was about to blow.
On this show, you get the high-flying conservative columnist from National Review Online, Jim Garrity, and the wit and wisdom and experience of broadcast veteran Mickey White. So let's get to it. This is the Jim and Mickey Show.
Love, exciting and new.
Welcome to the Jim and Mickey Show, brought to you by Princess Cruises, where your captain, Meryl Stubing, on the Pacific Princess is waiting for you. We've also recently purchased the Seabourn Legend cruise liner from the Seabourn Legend cruise line, and now we're ready to speed to your next cruise destination. This week's corporate sponsor is in honor of Dave, our producer, who spent last week relaxing in the Caribbean on a cruise liner. My understanding was no hijackings, no...
it was actually a princess liner, the Emerald Princess, and the captain had his first three letters of his last name was S-T-E, so we were very close to Captain Stenzel.
Wow, all right.
Wow.
Stenzel.
See, if I were on Princess Cruises, I would be playing that in the theme song in the background all the time. Have everyone dressed in 70s fashions or late 70s, early 80s fashions.
Isaac better be bringing me that drink.
There is probably a Love Boat cruise out there that you can take.
There actually is, but I'm sure it's pretty second-rate. The original one was. Princess was very nice. I got to snorkel.
I mean, it's no National Review cruise.
Welcome back, Dave.
Thank you.
We miss you, and I saw some of the sexy pictures you were posting up on Facebook. It looks like you had a very good time.
Coral reefs. I got to cruise in an inner tube through an underground ancient Mayan cave. I got to see the Mayan ruins at Tulum and Yucatan. It was really a great trip. Can't believe I did so much.
That is one of my favorite sites for ruins, and I'm so glad that you got to do it. And the sea notes that you can go under water and these underground rivers.
Yeah, that's on my next trip. I didn't have time to go in a cenote.
A cenote. Yes, which I really should have pronounced properly since I'm working on my Spanish. But anyway,
well, it's great to be back.
One of the most fun things I recommend to everyone. If you have the opportunity to do it, do it.
Very glad that you missed
very
me.
Cool.
Glad to be back pushing the buttons, and now you need to blow me away with a top quality grade A USDA choice approved show today.
Well, I think we're all awake and ready, right, Mickey?
All right, look, that's not funny. And first of all, hi everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm Mickey White. Not that Jim Garrity felt the need to introduce me this morning.
Oh, our listeners know who you are by now.
Oh, I think so, but you know. I hear all the tonnage coming over from your side this morning. But here's the thing. I think it's really important that we recognize the sacrifice that Dave had. He could have been, taken over by pirates.
It was brutal. Yeah. Could have run out of buy food.
Somali cruise lines are really tough this time of
year. Could have run out of food. Like he was really down with, quote, the struggle.
Cannibalism could have broken out at any moment.
Laying on the cruise, and I could actually see his toes in the ocean in the background along with the sunset. That looked horrible. It looked like a horrible place to spend time.
I took a huge risk on behalf of fun, and I'm glad to be home alive.
Well, I am so glad that you're back, and thanks to everybody who listened to our live show last week without Dave. Big shout out and thanks to John Grant at the 405 Radio who made that happen for us, and thanks to everybody who tuned in live and have listened to us since, because it is up at the SoundCloud right now, and it was a lot of fun. It was certainly something different, and who knows, we might see more of those in the future. You'll just have to keep listening.
We'll do it live. Although for what it's worth, we're doing this one live, except it's on tape. Exactly. But with this one, if heaven forbid one of us drops the F-bomb or somebody's say asleep at the switch, Mickey, we can always.
You're never gonna let that.
No, I just look forward.
You and I are gonna have to build a snowman or something when I come to see you next.
during the commercial break, I want you to tape a PSA for Narcoleptics Anonymous.
Okay, first, I'm not even going to get into this with you this morning, Mr. Garrity, because so many important topics to discuss.
Yes.
And when I say so many important topics to discuss, of course, everyone's been doing the big raps, the year in reviews, and, what happened in 2014 versus what we've got to look forward to in 2015. What are your thoughts on all of these wrap-ups?
It was interesting. I had a good 2014. I was many folks I seem to encounter seem to have had a lousy year, and we're happy to see the year go. So, look, we are now 1 week into the year. We have had. I guess here's the thing: it's not just a change of years; it's also a change of seasons. In my neck of the woods, we've gotten our first serious snow of the year. So winter.
Oh, save it. I understand exactly what's going on in your world because remember, we're not that far away. Mm-hmm. You and your weather bubble, I feel you. And the people who live in Virginia and Northern Virginia feel you in parts of Maryland. The rest of the country thinks that we're all crazy.
Well, okay.
Just so you know, everyone thinks we're nuts because they all are like, well, especially to me as someone who lived in the North, everyone always says to me, well, you grew up in Pennsylvania. You grew up in the mountains. You ought to be able to drive in this. First of all, yes, I did. I drove through all kinds of snow in Pennsylvania for years, from the time I was 16 years old. 2, they know how to clear the roads in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And 3, this is really key. We always had a 4-wheel drive available to us.
Oh yeah, this is not BMW weather.
Here's the last one that is not to be seen as this is like the last one in order of importance. There weren't as many amateurs on the roads either. You know who you are.
I was going to say one of the things that we have kind of for the past winter. The D.C. area is kind of famous for not being able to handle snow, for panicking and running to the supermarkets and cleaning out all the bread and toilet paper and milk the moment you see a snowflake. Last year I lived in a neighborhood I called Yuppie Acres. It was in Alexandria. Yuppie Acres had 10 snow days last year. And part of the problem was that for those first few, it really, it was a dusting, okay? The kids could have made it. At the very least, a delayed opening would have been fine. But because they had a very kind of, let's say, lax attitude on snow days early on, when we actually had genuine snowstorms later in the winter, all of a sudden they ran all through their allotted amount of snow days. And I think some school districts had to actually lengthen the school day to make up for the lack of days because otherwise they'd have the kids going to school all the way into July. Now, since then, I have moved from Yuppie Acres, which, by the way, I now learned this past couple of days was very flat, to Authenticity Woods in Fairfax County, which is very hilly, which makes it a little more – the degree of difficulty for driving went up a few notches.
It just becomes more exciting, really.
Yeah, but so Fairfax County was actually even worse. I think they had 11 or 12 snow days last year. And so everyone had I think they had gone into this winter saying, all right, no more of this wimp stuff. If it's going to take a real snowstorm to close schools. Otherwise, we're telling the kids to go to school. Well, the snow on Tuesday came through starting, I guess, around 6 a.m. or so. And we wake up in the morning, and the message is, school's open. Everybody go to school. Come on, suck it up. Let's go.
And the parents are happy, and the kids are very sad.
Well, that's what you'd think. But instead, well, first of all, honest to goodness, they had something like 230-some car accidents.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Here's the problem. Is one, the roads were salted but not cleared. Problem number one. Problem number two is it just kind of kept coming down during the commute. And so basically, in retrospect, they actually sent out an email of apology yesterday. And even I, with my four-wheel drive and my relative competence in driving in snow and bad weather, would say, you know what, a delayed opening would have been fine. Mm-hmm. So naturally today, with no snow falling whatsoever, Fairfax County decides to have a 2-hour delayed opening.
And how were the roads this morning, though?
Oh, they're all cleared. There was not a single issue at all. The reason today was because it was cold. So we've gone from toughening it up for one day to absolutely falling apart. This was the makeup call from like the refs in the Dallas game.
Oh. Again, I've said many times that the NFL can keep their letters of apology to the Steelers that they write every year. But I have a feeling it won't be the Steelers fans that are the most upset this season. As bad as our game was, I feel like the Detroit Lions fans could be forming some type of revolution at this point. When the NFL says, we're sorry, there was actually a letter released by the NFL, for those of you who are not aware, apologizing to the Detroit Lions for the pick-up call. There was a it wasn't the one that you thought it was as far as the flag that got picked up. There was a holding call on Ndamukong Suh on the fourth down that should have been a holding call, which would have forced the fourth down, which would have given Detroit the win. And the NFL is really sorry, Detroit Lions fans. I know that makes everything all better, but they're really, really sorry. And they even wrote a letter.
Mickey, I'm just going to observe that I think when it comes to the NFL changing its decision after the fact, Detroit Lions fans are in no position to sue.
What do you mean?
You're suspended. Never mind.
I can't feel my feet. I can't wait to use that, by the way. The next time something happens and I find myself in a difficult situation, I'm just going to tell them that my feet were really cold and I had no idea what I was doing.
I was going to say, Mickey, what would he do if they were playing in a dome?
He's going to say it again. I had no circulation in my feet because there was all this tape. Couldn't feel my feet. Yes, and one of the things, obviously, that came up because we're talking about, year beginning and starting, and one of the things that's been here is, obviously, everyone's talking about Back to the Future 2, a movie that was in my book, but because, of course, it was set here in 2015, people have a lot of expectations for it, and one of them, seemingly, is hoverboards. And everyone was complaining that we don't have hoverboards yet, but didn't I just see Tony Hawk do a hoverboard segment?
Did he? I may have, it will stun you, Mickey, to learn that I am not on top of all Tony Hawk news. I do recognize the name, but I'm going to observe. I did see
Well,
people
I'm going to put a link
out.
up for our listeners. I'm going to put that up at our Facebook page, facebook.com/Jim and Mickey Show. And I will put that up about the hoverboards and Tony Hawk. And we're going to get into even more discussion about television and things that are going on right now in our culture on the other side. I'm Mickey White. He's Jim Garrity. You're listening to the Jim and Mickey Show.
Love, exciting and new.
Keep it here on the Jim and Mickey Show.
Just wanna catch you. It's electric when you hit my lips. Feels so good to hold you. It's the no calories that makes me feel like this. Just wanna follow it. Just wanna thrill it. Just wanna love it. Ooh, just wanna taste of it. Diet Coke.
Welcome back. I'm Mickey White here with my co-host Jim Garrity, and we were just getting into all the things that we are looking forward to on television in 2015. Now, there's going to be a lot of changes on the TV programming, etc., but there's probably going to be some good, and let's face it, there's going to probably be some bad. That's what I'm thinking, Jim. Why would 2015 be any different than any other year?
I was going to say something somewhere will be fine. No, I guess I'm kind of struck by how the networks seem to have gotten together and concluded that maybe like that first week of December, they'll do their very special Christmas episode. And then pretty much for the rest of December and that first week of January, you're on your own, viewer. You are stuck with rerun land. There is nothing new. And for folks like myself who not having something set for the evening, nothing piled up and saved in the DVR, means I get to sit on the couch and watch Mrs. Campaign Spot go through all the listings and everything on demand, and not like anything. And that's I'm just pick something, okay, so I can dislike it. But if you're just scrolling through the menu, anyway. So that's my my.
No,
my
see, but that is not unlike my house in the sense that obviously you guys know I travel with my job. I DVR everything. And I come home, and of course, over the holidays, I blow through everything I've DVR'd. I'm now taking suggestions from people online about other things that I can watch. And it was because they took away all of my shows. And this week is the week they were all supposed to come back, but it's not. They're not coming back until next week. There's like a hodgepodge mix.
Yeah.
And they're introducing a lot of new shows. I will say there are a couple new shows I'm looking forward to seeing, and certainly some favorites that I'm hoping come back and don't suck.
Okay. Any luck?
Well, no luck with NCIS. I had been a fan of NCIS during the Ziva year.